Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success.
Yeah, I got complete views on my end. All right, there we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. Truly excited to have Miss Bethany Rees on with us, a great lady doing some great things, and so excited to highlight her and share her journey. So first off, Bethany, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Oh, Chip, thank you for having me. I'm so excited, man. I've been following you for a while, and I just can't believe this is the first time we've met, so I'm excited to talk to you.
I know it's crazy. Off air, we talked about, our backgrounds, being in the similar districts, but not being able to cross paths. And it's wild, we run the same circles, know some of the similar people, but just hadn't had the opportunity to meet. And so I'm glad that we are able to meet on the Success Chronicles. How about that?
Absolutely.
Well, let's get it. Well, if you don't mind, just share a little bit, about your background, your journey with the audience so they have an idea of who you are and what it is you do.
Awesome. Well, I am Bethany Rees, and honestly, if I had to give you a 30-second version of my life, I would say it starts out like a black and white Turner Classic movie in a small town. Nothing ever happens. You do what you're told. You marry your high school sweetheart. But then it transitions to an Adam Sandler movie, full of selfish desires, lots of chaos. And then at the end, the character always learns a lesson and grows in their character and moves on. So that's kind of my life if I had to summarize it. But, seriously, I did start out in a small town. I am from small town Arkansas, a town called Southside that, is celebrating their first stoplight kind of thing. And I married my high school sweetheart. I had great parents. I was raised in a Christian household where we don't smoke, cuss, or chew, and we don't go with boys that do. And so, whenever you date in a small town, my husband and I joke, you have to ask 3 questions. Question number 1, are you related? It's a very important question. Question number 2, do you have your teeth? And then question number 3, do you wear shoes? Because if you do, it means you're going places. And so meeting my husband, probably around the age of 10, we started dating when I was 16, married at 19. We got good answers on all 3 of those. So that was really the whole Mayberry, Andy Griffith part of my life. And then after we got married, we were still in college working full time. And that's where my life completely shifted to that Adam Sandler movie of grown-ups, Billy Madison, whatever you want to call it, whatever movie you've seen of his, they all kind of have the similar character learns a hard lesson kind of thing. So that's kind of where we were, doing life, being selfish. I mean, I could speak for myself, just chasing things. I was chasing the blank. I was chasing status, power, money, influence. But I became a teacher, which is funny because teachers make no money. They don't really have a lot of status or influence. So it's kind of funny the way that life went. But that kind of summarized my 20s. And then late 20s, we actually moved from small town Arkansas to Spring, Texas, which is a metropolitan area of Houston. So Imagine this. I went from a state of 3 million to a metropolitan area of 7 million. So when I showed up in Texas, I flash, hick, small town bumpkin, doesn't belong here, doesn't know what she's doing. It's kind of the way I felt. But I learned a lot, did settle in, worked in a great school district. I was a teacher, an instructional coach, those things, and became a high school administrator, which I can talk about later. But, in the throes of just raising my kids and growing professionally, getting my master's degree, getting my administrative degree, man, it hit me. Life's a beach. Now, Chip, I want to say that word slower to make sure people didn't mishear me. Life is a beach. Beach.
I got you. I'm following.
Yeah. I felt like I was building this sandcastle life. I just felt that I was always being blown to and fro based upon the environment I was in, the circumstances, right? You need to be this kind of mom. You need to be this kind of wife. You need to do this to take care of yourself. Oh, and you got to grow professionally. Don't forget to do this. And I was just like, all right, society, tell me who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. And it finally, after your sandcastle life crumbles a couple of times, it's like, is this all there is to life? Chasing the blank? And that's where God just kind of thumped me on the head. And he's like, yes, there's more to life. You can get off the beach. Stop building your life in the sand, because the sand, sand gets everywhere, Chip. It's going to cause chafing. It's going to cause mental chafing where you just never feel comfortable in your own skin. It's going to cause physical chafing with those busy schedules. And so after all of that, I just I don't want to be on the beach anymore. And I just felt like God's like, learn the lessons of the experiences you're in. Come on, you're being slow, girl. And so I just learned to slowly build my life and my leadership, what I call on the rocks. It's those universal principles and values that keeps me grounded even when those storms come. And so, as I became a high school administrator, my circumstances actually got harder. I was working all the time, building a school from scratch, hiring hundreds of staff, onboarding hundreds of staff, building a culture from scratch. And guess what? My little kids were now tweens and teenagers. And let me tell you, if you have kids out there, your teenagers need you just as much as your toddler does. They really, really do. And so it was just a very hard season. And that's where I learned so much about myself, of just, God, show me how to serve well, how to serve my family, how to serve the school and the school district in which I'm in, the community in which I'm in. And that's where I just learned a lot of lessons. And now I walk proudly with all those scars. I walk with that limp, and I'm like, yeah, I learned some lessons along the way. So if, all of that, now I'm in my 40s. I've moved back to Arkansas. I've actually transitioned out of education through that move, and I've started my own leadership company. But my life is nothing like what I pictured. Like, God did not get a copy of the script that I wrote for my life. He was like, that's cute. We're going to do it this way. And so I'm not living the life I expected, but man, it's so much better. So I am in a transformation process every single day. And that's where I'm at, Chip. That's my life. I'm just being transformed every day. It's a process.
That's so good. With your teeth and your shoes.
Yeah, with my teeth and my shoes. And I've still got my man, too. We're celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
Oh, Chip, that's such a good question. Can I adjust it just a little bit? I am a healing, high achiever people pleaser. I've done a lot of work to not seek affirmation and validation through my performance. And so kind of where that put me is I now have the mindset that I can't do anything apart from God. And so whenever, I say I have accomplished, I realize God has done a work in me, and he's put amazing people in my life to walk with me on that journey. And so if I had to say, okay, what are 3 things where God's bearing fruit in my life? I would say,
Amen.
I want to go first, probably internally, with just my identity. When you are insecure in who you are and who God made you to be, and you're a hot mess, that pours into everything else that you are. It pours into your relationships, it pours into your work, it pours into everything. And so the first thing is just internally, my identity of, I'm mid-40s, probably in the worst body I've ever been, and have more gray hair. I've earned it though, than I've ever had. But man, I am more confident in who God made me to be and what he created me to do than I have ever been. I do not feel that pressure from society anymore to look a certain way, to act a certain way. Like, society, you have no power over me. I'm moving forward. I know what God's created me to do. So that's one, is my identity. I would have to say the second one is my marriage. That partnership. After you look internal, then you're like, all right, who are my people beside me? And I would say having a healthy marriage. And I was married at 19, so I'm expecting Mayberry, all right? I'm expecting to be able to stay home, have 10 babies, live on a farm. I had high hopes back in the day. Let me stay home and have lots of babies. But, as you work through that, you actually, when you first get in a relationship, you come in it kind of selfish with a lot of unspoken expectations. I expect my husband to treat me this way. I expect our marriage to look this way. And so after I told you I got those thumps on the head where God's like, hey, stop being so selfish and learn these lessons, I stopped. I stopped, demanding things of Jason, and instead just praying for him, serving him. And you know what? He started praying for me, serving me, and it is now reciprocal, and it is a healthy partnership that I cannot imagine doing life without. So whatever your closest relationship is, man, work on that. And then third, you're not going to be shocked by the flow of this. It's got to be my kids. Like the
Yeah.
fruit that parenting is, it is hard labor cultivating that soil, growing, plucking the weeds of their character. But my kids are my joy. And my son is graduating Army basic training next week. Seeing the man he's becoming. My daughter is in 9th grade and surviving, and not only just surviving, but really thriving in that whole, cesspool of adolescence. She's a confident young lady who loves the Lord as well. And so I'm just so proud of my kids, but I also take it so seriously of I'm there to steward them. How I live my life truly matters because it pours into them. So they're a joy. They're a joy to watch.
Good deal. Just hearing you talk about your journey, the things that you're proud of, I will consider that to be successful. What is your definition of success?
Ooh, Chip. I take that question with a huge weight because so often we look at other people as beacons of, hey, do I want to take my ship to where they are? Do I want to go where they are? And there's a lot of responsibility in that. And I really feel like society, we look left and we look right at where we want to go. But I encourage people to stop looking left and looking right and look up. And so my definition of success is really internal. It's not external. So if we can kind of put that paradigm around it, it's not all the things that I chased in my 20s. It's not the power, the money, the status, the title, the influence, the control, and whatnot. I truly believe if I could define success is internal. It is becoming comfortable in who God made you to be and stepping out and doing what God made you to do, whatever that is. And so it's such an internal feeling. For me personally, I feel like I have internal success because I already said it. I know who God made me to be. I have comfort and peace in my salvation. And then I feel very confident in what he created me to do, right? Love God, love others. But my calling and how I do that is through encouragement, coaching, being present, serving, those things. And so if I could everybody who's listening to this, I got to tell you something. The world does not get to define your success. It has no power over you. So just hold on to that thought. The world, I feel like this, if you've ever watched Labyrinth, the 1980s movie with David Bowie, she looks at him, the character, I think it's Jennifer Connelly, she said, you have no power over me. That's the way I feel about society. You have no power over us. And so the world doesn't get to define it for you. So stop looking left, stop looking right, and look up. I implore you to ask God, what gifts and talents did you put into me? Who did you make me to be? And how can I serve and give that to others? Use your story, use your experience, your hindsight, your insight from your story and your experiences can be used to serve other people walk in that same path. So it does not matter where you start. So many people feel, well, I'm not this, I'm not that. No, that's lies. Get rid of that. What have you learned? How can you use it to serve somebody else? That's internal success. So that's my definition. It's a long one.
No, I love it. It's all great nuggets. Stop looking left and right and look up. I love it. Well, as we close, I'd love for you to get an opportunity to share with the audience so they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love and all of the amazing things you have going on.
Absolutely. So I told you, I'm getting out of that sand element of living, sandcastle living. So I am now Leadership on the Rocks. So you can go to my website, leadershipontherocks.com. You're going to find everything there. My coaching, my podcast. I have a podcast by the same name, Leadership on the Rocks, as well as I have tons of freebies to help you overcome that leadership overwhelm. But on social media, whether it be LinkedIn or Instagram, TikTok, wherever, I'm also Leadership on the Rocks.
Awesome. Well, so good, Bethany. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles and for dropping those hot nuggets.
Thank you, Chip, for having me. I love what you're doing and how you're inspiring just a whole bunch of people to go and get it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Get it, baby. Well, again, thank you for taking the time, and thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.